been a minute, but we're actually finally ready to give you an update on this thing. So, for those who don't know, this is Bill's CRX. This has been a constant paperweight, I suppose you could say, in my workshop for 5 years now. If you've been to a workshop before, you'll have seen this vehicle. But yeah, it's still here. There's a massive story behind it. I'm not going to go into great detail, but this is the current update of the CRX. So, Bill's CRX. For those of you who may have watched the last video, we updated you on the current plans for this car. If you didn't watch that video, here's a video card. Go watch it, because I can't be asked to explain most of the video again. But in long story short, Honda K20, Audi DSG 4-wheel drive, gearbox. So yeah, this build's been through a few different iterations over the last couple of years. This is the current one, and it's up until now the most permanent one. So yeah, we've got Honda K20, 4-wheel drive DSG gearbox out of an Audi TT, I believe. So the gearbox is absolutely massive. But yeah, only this weekend just gone, we have finally got some engine mounts done. Now, they're not overly pretty, they're all steel. It does the job. We may, well I say we may send these engine mounts off at some point, get them 3D scanned and some billet aluminium ones made, but it does the job. It's holding the engine in anyway, so that's the important thing. It gets it off the floor, as it's been on the floor now for a couple of months, so it's freed up some space in the workshop. So surprisingly, there is a bit of room to play with up top here. Engine mount clearance is nice. We've got some decent access for the turbo, because obviously this is turbo as well. Plan is 600 horsepower. If I remember correctly, it's on a Precision 6262. But don't let that deceive you. It's actually quite tight underneath. So let's lift the car up, and let's have a look from underneath. So first, I'll apologise. The heat has just come on and it's cold, so I'm not turning it off. So yeah, that might impede the audio. We'll see. So now we're underneath the CRX. So before anyone asks, what's this massively huge thick aluminium plate? Well, it's the current basis for the adapter plate, which bolts the K20 to the Audi DSG gearbox. Dimensions and the holes are in the right place. So the plan is to maybe 3D scan this and create that into a nice billet adapter, which hopefully with some machinery that we're looking to obtain shortly, we might be able to do that in-house, which would be quite cool. So one of the first problems we've got to deal with is that is the out for the prop for the rear, and this is the ceiling of the current tunnel in the CRX. So the first issue we've got to deal with is that prop shaft has to go above this tunnel all the way down. So one of the next things we've got to do is cut the tunnel all the way along. Luckily it's got a roll cage inside with some crossbars the front and the back, so the chassis should keep itself together. And then we can see where the prop's got to go, so we can then line up where the diff's got to go at the back. Second thing as well is the drive shaft angle. Let me zoom in. It's not ideal, but unfortunately the engine can't go anywhere else. It can't go any further back. It could go forward, but we're just going to start messing with the handling of the car next. Second issue we've got is this is the factory CRX subframe. I'm not sure how well some of you know the EF chassis, but yeah, this is the rear subframe, and unfortunately, as you can probably see my finger is, that's got to go. We've got a plan for that, because we don't have to use any of the space here anymore, so we can simplify the subframe quite a bit. One thing we were worried about is moving the steering rack, but luckily the steering rack's going to clear the UJ off the prop, so yeah, so we've got to make a new subframe thereabouts anyway, to retain the steering rack in its standard position, which shouldn't be too bad. We should be able to do it. And the next thing we've had to do is we've had to cut quite a lot of this chassis leg away. I mean, I wasn't really happy in doing that, because obviously there's a lot of structural rigidity in there, and obviously it's now gone. So our plan is to insert like a bit of roll cage tubing in there to strengthen up that chassis leg quite a bit. Luckily, one thing we thought we might have to make custom again is the traction bar, but the traction bar has got plenty of clearance on that side, and buckets of room on that side, so we got lucky on that at least anyway. So I've just brought the CRX back down on the lift. So now you know what's going on underneath. I just wanted to briefly explain what's going on up above here. So a few people pointed out this section in the firewall. I think when last time I put a video up. So this used to it had like a massive sidewinder manifold with a turbo, and that Bill put that there so we could easily access the wastegate spring to change the wastegate spring. But now it's going to serve a second purpose. So with the engine position all change, we're more than likely going to have to fabricate a new turbo manifold. So with doing that, we could put the wastegate somewhere, maybe down here somewhere, in this sort of area here, underneath the collector. And one of the things that Bill didn't want to compromise on was the passenger compartment. He obviously wanted people to enjoy a drive or arrive in it. So we're going to make the passenger compartment a bit warmer than usual. So we've got no room for a downpipe down there. By the time you've got the drive shaft in along there, you maybe get a 2-inch pipe through there. Oval pipe just isn't an option. So the only logical place for a dump pipe for a turbo would be out the bonnet. Unfortunately, Bill said no, so we can't do that. You can't have, we can't have fun here, so we can't have the turbo and wastegate and the exhaust out the bonnet. So this now is going to serve a different purpose. So we're going to basically continue this channel down underneath the subframe and link it to the tunnel, and that's where the 3-inch downpipe is going to go. So yeah, got my work cut out for me. That's for sure. We are going to redo the inlet manifold. I wasn't really happy with the inlet manifold we made last time anyway. The skill set's come a long way since then, so you know, we can definitely build something better. And not only that, is because we've had to lean the engine back a few more degrees. The bonnet probably wouldn't shut. I'm not actually tested it, but I doubt it's going to shut. But the angle of everything's going to change. So the only logical thing we could do now is to redo a new inlet manifold. We're more likely going to have to do a new turbo manifold, but there's I'd say there's a decent amount of space down there. So yeah, that's the drive shaft. I mean, looks could be deceiving. I mean, you could probably think that we could probably put a 3-inch dump tube through here, but it's just not going to fit. I've been playing with bits of tube, and it's just unfortunate the steering rack is straight underneath there. So without moving the steering rack out of the way, it's just not going to happen. So yeah, next thing we've got to do is actually get this engine fully in. To do that, we've got to do the subframe. We're going to build sort of like a loop over where the prop shaft's going to go, and then we're going to probably put like a little mount on there, and then the mount's going to attach to that, and that'll be the engine in. So yeah. So I hope that satisfied your curiosity for this build. We're hopefully going to be doing some frequent small updates on this. When you look at the build as one big picture, it's a lot to chew. So we're going to take little teensy bite-size chunks out of it. So yeah, we should definitely be seeing some progress on this CRX over the coming months. And with that being said, thanks for watching another beautiful production by yours truly, and we'll see you in the next video.